going on, everybody? This is Brian Turner here with another episode of No Stress Midwest podcast. We are here in season 3 now, doing a Black Excellence season. Today, we're lucky enough, and when I say lucky, I mean this is an honor. We have Jessica McDonald here. Jessica plays for North Carolina Courage. She was a member of not only the U.S. national team, but the World Cup winning U.S. national team. So Jessica, we are so thankful and I'm really excited to have you here. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you so much for that introduction. That was
Yep.
amazing. And yeah, I'm excited to be on here. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So a little bit how Jess and I were connected from season 2. We did the all female guest list, and the very first episode we had Carrie Riccaro, who I think has like the second highest downloads for a podcast on our thing. Her personality was just like absolutely spewing out of the laptop. You could just tell how excited she was, and she made the connection with Jess. I asked her if she knew anyone, and Jess was the first person she mentioned. So, yeah. So, Jess, where are you now? What's off season like?
Yeah, off season's been great. I guess COVID has kind of benefited me as an athlete, kind of being able to take a break physically.
Yeah.
So it was nice to take a break, and then slowly get back into the grind for the duration of the off season. And we start preseason on Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just talking to a couple of my teammates. This is something I really want to share with everybody. But this was one of the funnest off seasons I have had in a very long time. Um, without any stress, without any worries, because being a veteran, I know exactly what to expect. And,
Right.
I know my expectations. And so the grind was just so different. And maybe it was because of COVID and just teaching me a life lesson not to just like stress over everything. And as like pro athletes, we stress so much mentally and physically.
Yeah.
And so, all I did was just play. I just played,
Yeah.
without
That's
any
simple.
like pressure. So
That's
simple,
simple. Yeah.
just 6v6, like the whole offseason. It was absolutely amazing. So
Yeah.
chill and no stress. So I'm excited to get preseason started,
Underway.
and
Yeah.
haven't played in a while. So yeah, it's been nice.
Now you mentioned that this off season has been super chill for you. You also mentioned the terms no stress, and I did not ask you to say that, right? You can say that, but
Yeah.
it's great how it ties in. But did the off
Oh my gosh, I didn't notice that.
yeah.
Wow.
Um, but no, you're talking about how fun the off season was. Did it happen to deal with Lola and low key? You told me you got two puppies during
Yeah.
the off season during COVID time, I guess. So how's that experience been being a first time dog mom?
Yeah, it's been a wild ride so far. There are so many words that come to mind. Yeah, I've never had a dog before, so I didn't know what I was getting into, and
Yeah.
having doubled the trouble. Um, I hit kind of a low because I didn't know what I was doing with these dogs, and it became a lot of work for me at one point in time. And then I like snapped out of it. I'm like, I've gone through like I've given birth. I've, gone through like a horrible knee surgery. I can do this. What am I doing? Like, what? Get it together. These dogs, it's fine.
Right.
It's fine. I'm fine. I had to like snap out of the funk a little bit, but it's like I said, my off season has been a little chill, and I've been able to spend a lot of time with them.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, they take a lot of time and
For
they take
sure.
patience, and so they've been teaching me patience, and that's something where like I'm always out and about doing stuff,
Mm-hmm.
everything's on schedule, but they're teaching me patience because they're throwing my schedule off
It's
sometimes,
their schedule. It's
Yeah, it's their
it's
schedule.
not
Mine
your
doesn't even
schedule anymore.
matter.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
your schedule.
So it's been eye opening, that's for sure. Just coming from just like an animal standpoint, I don't know what they're thinking. They don't know what I'm thinking. So I'm like, when can we get on the same page here with everything?
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for those moments. But they're good puppies. So overall, we went through training for them, and that was a fun process. My son's really good with them as well. So it's
Awesome.
been cool. It's eye opening, cool, and been very patient. That's for sure.
A lot of words, like you
Yeah.
said. I'm the same way. I'm a first time dog owner, and there's a lot of words I can use to describe her, the experience, potty training. how I feel on a regular. But no, I love her. So it's been good to have a puppy. Um,
All love, absolutely.
yeah. So Jess, let's talk. Let's get into a little about you, right? So where did you grow up? What was youth soccer like? I've done a little bit of research, but I don't want to spoil it for everyone.
Okay.
So who were some of your early influences? Why soccer? Just kind of take us through little Jessica. What was life like?
Yeah. So I had two athletic parents, like all Americans when they were in high school, like just absolute beasts. And so obviously I kind of picked up their gene a little bit, just being an overall athlete.
Hmm.
And I dabbled into every sport growing up. I grew up at a time where like the electronics nowadays that these kids have, we didn't have back then. You know
Nope.
what I'm saying? And
Nope.
so I grew up the only girl in my family to top it off. So I was with all boys. So I had my older brother and then all my guy cousins. We were
Mhm.
always together. We always wanted to be outside. That was our only choice, really, was
Yep.
just go outside and be active. But we loved that. We were
That was
all
the life.
athletes. So
That was the life.
absolutely, those were the times. And so I dabbled into soccer very late, actually. So my brother, Brandon McDonald, he had his one sport that he knew
Mhm.
he was just good at. So he always just stuck with his one sport, which is soccer. So he played ever since he was 5 years old and just retired a year ago. So he's been
Okay.
playing his whole life since day one. He's more of a day one. And so for me, um, I was into basketball. Basketball, that was my sport. Basketball and track, like those were my primary sports
Right.
before I even, had the thought of playing soccer. And obviously I was surrounded by the games my brother played. So obviously I
Yeah,
went to
for
the
sure.
games. I
Yeah.
knew the game,
Yeah.
I didn't have anything against it. But um yeah, so I came to an off season one year. I think I just finished with volleyball. And I came to an off season, which was like very different for me because usually once I did one sport, it flowed into the next one and into the
Hmm.
next one. But I had
Hmm.
like this awkward time off when I was in junior high, and my grandma was like, "How about you just play soccer, play for the same club as your brother?" And I was like, "All right," it's kind of one of those. I'm like,
Right. Sure.
"Okay, yeah,
Okay.
you know,
Whatever.
yeah, like just something else to do." And
Yeah.
so got into it, and I had an incredible coach first and foremost. This was like they were already two-time state champions in the state of Arizona. So I went to like a very good team with a very good coach.
And
And
the club was a good club,
the
right?
club was a
Obviously, your
great
brother
club.
was there, so
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah, the club was absolutely phenomenal then. And so I hopped right on and I was on board. And so I saw a little bit of my potential with soccer. I didn't know my
Hmm.
right foot from my left foot when I first started, but the
Yeah.
coach, he worked with me. And obviously, he's he's like one of my first club coaches, so I'll just never forget, the impact that he had on me pretty quickly. And so he helped me like find my potential in the game. And so I went to like my first youth national team camp by the time I was 14. This is only 2 years into playing. And so
Jesus.
it's like, okay, this is like the real deal. Like here
Yeah,
I
this
am,
is
I'm
legit.
traveling. Yeah, it's legit.
Right.
I'm traveling somewhere else, somewhere new, because with basketball and with track, I'd make regionals, I'd make states, and it would only take us to like California or Texas. So those are like
Right.
just the only two states I'd ever really gone to at the time. And so to travel so much more with club soccer, to travel so much more, having the opportunity to play with youth national teams, here I am, like being exposed to not just everywhere in the United States, but around the world. Like
Hmm.
this game was taking me around the world. And so
Hmm.
I found it just so beautiful. I stuck with playing soccer primarily. So once I got into high school, I started to focus solely on soccer. That was
Okay.
like my 24/7 sport. I knew it was. And so,
Right.
but I never played for my high school soccer team, not once. And so,
Was it because of the team that you were on, or you were traveling so much, or you just it was in
I
the season as something else?
yeah, I wanted to do something else. So all
Okay.
4 years I played varsity basketball.
Okay.
So the same season of basketball and soccer for high school was at the same time. And so I was like,
Ah.
no, I'd rather play basketball. Like,
Okay.
so I was able to escape from just soccer, 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 soccer. When you're tuned in on one sport,
Right.
you got to expand your athletic abilities, I think, because I think it truly helps prevent injuries and it brings you so many other strengths in other sports that you can apply in other sports. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? And so that was just, really my cup of tea growing up. is just dabbling into everything. Like one year I was even quarterback on a football team. I tried that even. And so
Hey, give it a go. Give it a
exactly,
go.
why
Yeah.
not? Um, so yeah, I ended up at junior college first. I had D1 offers. I had committed to University of North Carolina when I was in high school, and some life-changing events happened my junior year in high school, and my life just like completely changed when I was
Yeah.
17. And so my grades dropped a little bit, and at the time, like SAT scores and your GPA had to like match, and I don't know if that's still the same way, but neither one of them
We're
matched.
up
You
there.
know, my
Yeah.
SAT score wasn't high enough for my GPA. GPA
Right.
wasn't high enough for the SAT score. So everything just kind of dropped, academically for me. And I ended up going to junior college, which was very unexpected. That wasn't part of the plan. I wanted
Uh-huh.
to go D1 in soccer. And so here I am, little setback. All right, let's go. And
Right.
so I had incredible staff members, coaches, and mentors at my junior college
Hmm.
because they knew who I was and they knew what my goal was. And so
Right.
they helped me get there in ways that, you know, no person that I grew up with has like taught me the importance of education, just like little things,
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
I didn't really have too many teachers who helped me a lot in high school. So it like I just didn't understand a lot of things, growing up academically. I struggled.
Right.
I struggled even reading, most of
Right.
my life. And so finally got to junior college and I ended up graduating with honors. I ended up running track still for my JUCO, still played soccer, women's soccer program, and I played basketball. Played all three sports in my junior college. So here I am. I'm still doing my same routine.
And
You
that's
know
and that's something, an opportunity that you would not have had at any other place, right? But at
exactly.
junior college. Yeah.
Yeah, and I did that, and it was so
Yeah.
much fun.
Right.
But this was like you would see it as like a minor setback, which maybe to a certain extent it was, but it completely changed my life. Like without
Hmm.
that school, without the people that were in it, I really wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
And so they pushed me forward to make sure I ended up where I should have been. And so I did transfer over to University of North Carolina after 2 years at Phoenix College and got drafted into the pros.
And after one season, right?
I played 2 seasons
Two
with
seasons
UNC.
with them. Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. So a few things I want to kind of, before we take it to the North Carolina step, right? And whatever. Um, you brought up something that was really big, and you said you committed to UNC early on, and then you had a life-changing event, and instead of now going to UNC or a D1, other, you went to junior college, and you used the term setback, not, oh man, I let everyone down or I failed or it was a minor setback because you knew that what your goal was still there. It's still your goal. This was just a stop you had to make on the way to grandma's house, right? And
Exactly.
and that's, I think, so important, because how many athletes, how many 17-year-olds would just give up and just say, all right, screw this. I had it on. Then they become the people that are at the cookouts in 30 years. Well, I had an offer to UNC.
Yeah.
Lawrence was right there on my doorstep.
Yeah.
Um, so that's huge. I think that I commend you on that, because I mean, that's not most people, right? That's a different wiring. So that's dope.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, that's super dope. So in Arizona, where did you grow up? Was it suburbs? I'm not familiar with Arizona. I can't imagine there being much of a inner city, but what's what was the Arizona life like in that demographic?
Yeah. So I grew up in Glendale, Arizona, which is a little west of Phoenix. Phoenix is like central Arizona, and we're just like a little west of it. And
Okay.
so, man, it's hot there.
It sounds hot.
It's hot. And so I just had a chat with my brother recently, and I was like, how did we survive that heat being outside as much as we were? And you know, we were the kids that grew up drinking out of water hoses.
Yeah, yep, yep.
Yeah.
Hey, because you couldn't get in once you went inside the house, it was a wrap. So
That's it.
you had
Yeah.
to get resourceful. Listen, Jess,
Exactly.
I'm with you. I'm with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So we were like one of those very few black families in this city. You
Hmm.
know, my grandmother, she had 9 kids, and she moved the family out of the ghetto. Like we were in the ghetto.
Yeah.
This was before I was born, but according to my aunts and uncles, that's where they were. My grandma was like, no, this family is going to be about opportunity. So she got my family out of that. So I commend her for doing that, because it sort of paved the way for us, the kids, the
Hmm.
cousins, you know. And so yeah, we grew up in Glendale, Arizona, where, you know, it's predominantly white. At least for us growing up, we were like that one black family that everybody knew, because we were like that one black
The
family
one black,
in like the
you're the
whole
one
city.
black family that was
Yeah,
there, so everyone
you
knew you.
know. Yeah, so it got a little more diverse, you know, over time. So it's a lot more diverse now, so it's kind
Yeah.
of cool when I do go back home and visit, to just, you know, see all the beautiful people who are, you know, within my city. I'm like, wow, where y'all been
Where
this
were
whole
you?
time?
Yeah, where were you
Where
20
y'all
years
at,
ago?
man?
Right.
You know,
Right.
but yeah, it's growing into a very beautiful city. Same with Phoenix. There is a lot to do though. Arizona is actually a very popular place, you know,
Cool.
for a lot of people, but it's not a place for me. I can't do that heat no more. I haven't been home in the summertime in like 10 years. So
In a while, and
yeah,
that's for a reason. That is by
exactly. Yeah,
coincidence. Um,
exactly.
all right, so the landscape of your youth soccer, right? You said you joined a club that obviously was very well respected, had a lot of good teams. On top of being one of the only black families in that area, Glendale area, did you encounter racism as a player? Was it one of those things like, oh, you're only this fast because you're black, or you're only this good because you're only doing this because, right? It's always because you're black and you just
Yeah,
can't be good on your own, right?
exactly.
That's mind blowing. So, can you talk about any of those early on experiences, whether it was with adults,
Yeah,
teammates,
absolutely.
anything?
Yeah, I heard it all. I heard it
Yeah.
all, especially during games. So with soccer, you know, in the United States, it's a predominantly white sport
Hmm.
in the United States, and
Hmm.
so growing up, I was the only black girl on my club team. Every club team I ever been on until I got obviously to college,
Yeah.
I was always the only black girl, and
Yep.
so on every club team, and so yeah, I've heard parents on the sideline like, get that black girl, like get her, you know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm 12 years old, lady, like
Right.
I have Tourette's in my hair. Calm
Yeah.
down, you know.
We
Can I just play? Like leave me
Can
alone.
I just play soccer and just beat
Yeah,
your daughter? Can I just beat
right.
her without having to deal with this crap from you?
Yeah, so yeah, we heard it all. There was one day, I don't know why or how I remember this, but this is like stuck with me for my entire life. I was
Uh,
14 years old. We were doing fitness, my club team. We were doing fitness one day, and this child, he's probably about 6 years old, and I was pretty fit at the time, and so him and his dad kind of like stopped in their tracks and like started to watch us. We're just running,
yeah.
and the kid just like points at me. He's like, he just like laughs out loud, and he's like, look at that black girl. She's like, she's fast. Look at that black girl. He just gets like, look at that black girl. And I was just like, oh my gosh. But then one
Right.
of my teammates, obviously she's white, and she was
Yeah.
like, hey, she'll kick your butt. Like, you better leave her alone. Like, so
Right.
my teammates have like, they've stuck up for me, which is like really cool. And
And what was the
yeah,
dad? What did the dad say? Because then it
I
tells
don't,
you if
yeah,
he's not correcting it,
yeah,
right? Then, I mean, where's it being taught? You know?
yeah. I know. Yeah, to be honest, I don't remember if the dad said anything. I don't remember. I just remember that kid saying that.
Here's the
That
thing,
was
you
it.
probably would remember him saying something if he said something, right? You remember your
Right. Yeah.
picking up for
Right.
you.
Yeah.
And that's how it's as a 6-year-old, 7-year-old boy, right? Who's
Yeah.
now, look at the black girl running, right? Instead of,
Yeah.
wow, look at the team running and that girl's in front.
Yeah.
man, she's really fast. She's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So do you feel that at any point in your youth career, up until like before you got to college, did race hinder any opportunities? Maybe any individual accolades, all state, all conference, team MVP, anything like that? Or do you feel that it wasn't that much of a hindrance for as a youth?
Yeah, it wasn't that much of a hinder
Okay.
for me. It really wasn't. Because nothing really stands out to me within that regard.
Right. Okay.
So I guess I got pretty lucky there.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, no,
Okay.
I think with the accolades, everything went pretty smoothly. Like
Right. All
fairly.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay, so you ended up at UNC. You did a stint at Phoenix College, played 3 sports, balled out there. Said, okay, I'm taking my talents to Raleigh or to Chapel Hill. You go play for Anson for 2 seasons. What was that experience like? I've
Oh
got
my
a
gosh.
girl who I coach in high school and who I train, who's at UNC now as a sophomore. So
That's
I
cool.
fangirl every time I see her on TV
Yeah.
and get to talk to her. So what's it like? UNC is UNC. So tell me, Jess.
So man, the crazy thing is I grew up at a time when Michael Jordan was playing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like Michael Jordan was that dude like growing up.
Mm-hmm.
He really was. And so I wanted to be a Tar Heel since I was a little girl watching Michael Jordan because he
Saw
was a
him
Tar Heel.
play, and you said that's it.
I'm going there.
Yep.
And like as a little girl to say that is mind blowing. And you're
Yep.
actually the first person I've ever told that to. I've never told anyone like
That's
I
awesome.
yeah, I haven't really like shared that story.
Hey, that
Only like my people know,
right.
family, but like that's as far as it goes.
Hey, that's cool. But
Yeah,
but
it's public.
that's the importance of seeing someone like you in a position that you want to be in, right? It's like
Absolutely.
as a female, like how many women coaches did you have as a, growing up? How many black coaches did you have growing up? And and for me, I never had a black coach.
Yeah,
Never had a female coach, right? But I'm not a female, so that doesn't really carry over in the sense I'm making. But
right.
the importance of having someone that looks like you in a position of power now makes it a possibility of you doing that. If
Exactly.
I've never seen a black doctor, why the hell would I think I could be a doctor?
Right.
It's that
Yeah.
simple. You see
So
someone
true.
as a kid that's like, that's what I want. That's
Yeah.
what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And then now every year, everything you do, you're working towards getting that point. And
Exactly.
let me ask you, you finally got to that point. Was it everything you thought it would be?
And
And
more.
then
Oh
some.
my
I love
goodness.
it. I love it.
Yeah. One of the best experiences of my entire life. Of my entire life. I'm a two-time back-to-back NCAA national champion as a Tar Heel. Are you kidding me? Like it really doesn't get any
Does it
better
get
than
better?
that.
It doesn't, unless it's three
And
times, right?
I
Unless
didn't right.
it's
I didn't think it would, but I was surrounded by such incredible females, on my team.
3 times.
Everybody was just so amazing. And I think it was that camaraderie in the locker room, how tight we were as just friends, as human beings.
Yeah.
Everybody was so genuine, but you see us on the field, you would think we're seeing red, what I
Right.
mean? That's the
Right.
kind of program we were. And playing under Anson Dorrance, he helps instill that competitiveness in you.
Mhm.
He's all about mental competitiveness.
Right.
He's like, look, if you don't come in here, in the best shape of your life, if there's always going to be somebody out there better than you. He's like, but you better believe that it's your mental competitiveness that'll get you that starting position. That'll get you, more playing time, or
Yeah.
national team will be seeing you. Like this man will preach words, and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay,
And
let's
why wouldn't
go,
you
let's
listen
go.
to him? Why wouldn't you
Yeah,
believe him? I mean, he's got a resume as good as anyone, if not better.
absolutely. Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
awesome. So while you were there, and I was looking, I told you I stalked you a little bit, read up on you. You've been
Gotta do your
scoring
research.
you've been scoring goals for fun, like at least since they started tracking it online. What was it like when you stepped onto UNC campus? You're a junior, right? So you're not a freshman.
Hmm.
Was there this expectation like, look, I'm here, I'm ready to shut shit down? Or was it okay, I still need to kind of buy my time with the people that were there before me? What was that thought process like?
Oh man, the process, mentally and physically and just being welcome there in general, it was very smooth. It was so nice, so smooth and so comforting,
Yeah.
which brought my competitiveness, with some fire. Like I was ready, like let's go.
Yep. Yep.
Because a lot of my friends were already on the team. Like I told you before, I play on youth national teams, played in the Pan American Games with all my friends, and they're
That are
most of them
all
just
that
so
are
happen to be
all
they're already
Tar
there.
Heels. All
They're
Tar
there.
Heels. Yeah.
Yeah. So I already had friends that were already at the program, which, going in as a freshman, the vibe's completely different. You're a freshman, you're an underclassman, you don't know
You're a
nobody.
little fish.
Yeah, you ain't
Yeah.
nobody. So I came in at least with some type of momentum, being able to bring a little bit of fire because I was playing with my friends. I knew what to expect.
Hmm.
And it was just an amazing process overall, just very smooth.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So while you were there at UNC, okay, you mentioned you played the youth national team. Um, what did you do, if anything, outside of the soccer program, if you even had time to kind of not fit in, but to bring some normalcy to your time at UNC, right? Were there any clubs, any organizations, anything outside of soccer that kind of helped you adapt with that jump from Phoenix to North Carolina?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I love sharing this story. So, when you get to college, and this is for anybody, you're not in the house anymore. You're not with mom and dad anymore. Oh, this is grown up time. And this is where you really find yourself. This
Yep.
is where you really find your character, trying to find your purpose. Like,
Yep.
who am I? What can I do to cope? It's a long list of things. You know what I'm saying? When you hit
Yep.
that college age, and it's very eye opening life wise. And so for me, I had to find something that'll help me just cope in life because you know we all have our stories.
Yeah.
I've had it rough,
Yep.
like a lot of people. My upbringing wasn't very easy, and so I had to find something because like I'm away from all of that. I'm away from just all the tension that was happening back at home. I'm away from that now. A breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Who am I? What can I do? What do I do? And so that was where I turned to my spirituality, where I was like, I need to find Christ. Here we
Hmm.
go. So I was part
Hmm.
of AIA, Athletes in Action on
Okay.
campus. And, we did a lot of activities together. We went to church together. We did a lot of things together. And so, um, yeah, that was when I found Christ and, been a believer ever since. And so that's the way I've been able to cope in life is obviously, just keeping everything in his hands and just be thankful for everything,
For
and so
everything. Yeah.
everybody's got to find like something that they need to rely on to just cope.
Yep.
We're all human beings. We all go
Yep.
through stuff. How do you get out of this funk, And
Yep.
so that's where my spirituality comes into par.
And I think that that's cool because I was having this conversation with myself. So don't judge me because I talk to myself a lot.
It's
Um,
okay.
but finding, because I won't say I found God, but I became way more spiritual in the past few years.
Mhm.
And it was when I was an engineer and I quit to start this coaching and start this business. And I realized that I had to become so vulnerable and say, hey, it's not in my hands. I don't have the answers. Just guide me, show me the way, and I'll do the work, right?
Yeah,
But just be there for me. So I think it's very important that, and regardless of who you believe in spiritually, whether it's God, whether it's Buddha, whether it's whoever, just a higher power,
exactly. Yeah,
you've got to find it on your own time. And I don't think there's any right or wrong way to preach or to follow it. I think it's more accepting, okay, hey, Jess has found someone that she has her eye on that's guiding her. I love that. I
yeah,
have that same person, right? You should love that. As long as
absolutely.
we're not trying to go at each other and if we're both being guided by the same person, we're not. So
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, so you graduated from UNC. You mentioned you were drafted, did your 2 years there, final 2 years of college. Now you've played here in the US, you've played over in Australia for a bit, back here in the US. So how has the game, how is it different from that NCAA Division I UNC level, which to me is like a semi-pro, a really good semi-pro,
Right.
um, to Australia, to the NWSL slash WPS, WPSL, right? Just the women's league. Um, how's the landscape in there? What's the racial landscape like? Have you seen anything different from one to the other? Is it all the same theme? Is there no themes? Just kind of talk to us about that.
Yeah. To be honest, at first, initially there was no theme.
Yeah.
Things were just kind of getting started, within the WPS. It was very fresh when I got there. I think they're only in their second or third year by the time I got there. And so yeah, the vibe was a little different. I was a rookie too, so it's hard for me to judge anything. You're just this young cat just trying to fit in.
You're
So
just there, collected.
you ain't
You're just
nobody. So
hoping that people drop crumbs so you can pick it up and just be there at the table. I
pretty
get
much
it.
I'm collecting balls after games.
Yep,
Like
yep, yep, yep.
after trainings, everything. Picking up water. That was my role. So took it on.
Humbling experiences, right? Every
Right.
time you climb the ladder of being the big dog, you always get chopped back down when you
Oh,
get to the next level. Now you're a
immediately.
little
Yeah.
dog again.
Right. Yeah. So the development overall, racially, man, it is so cool to see from like then just myself. We just had 6 women get drafted out of the first 10. So you draft 10 players out of college into the NWSL, and
Okay.
6 of them were Black. And I thought that was an absolutely beautiful thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
That's
been
awesome.
night and day pretty much, especially after everything that's been going on with, after George Floyd happened, and things just kind of sparked from there.
Are you a
And
student that's struggling a little bit with the hybrid and virtual learning and looking to get just a little more help academically? Or are you a parent that has a child who's struggling to keep that same level of discipline and rigor that they had in the classroom at home? If any of these apply to you, check out No Stress Midwest Education, an academic tutoring service where we offer both in-person and virtual tutoring. One of the things that separates us from others is that all of our tutors are board certified educators in Kansas and Missouri in a variety of specialty topics and familiar with the latest curriculum in school districts around the metro area. We are passionate about helping students achieve their goals in the classroom and also committed to helping students build the necessary skills and tools they will need in the future to succeed on their own. Our team follows the latest guidelines from the CDC. We require masks for all in-person tutoring to protect both the student and the tutor. Our tutors will either travel to your home or meet at a predetermined location to conduct all in-person tutoring sessions. All we need is a space for learning, and we're ready to go. At No Stress Midwest, we truly believe in developing the well-rounded student athlete. No Stress Midwest does not tell you what to think, but teaches you how to think. No Stress Midwest Education, an academic tutoring service. For more information, visit www.nostressmidwest.com/education. All right, everyone. Sorry, I don't know what happened, but we had a bit of a cut off my Wi-Fi. I guess I forgot to pay the bill. They cut me off, but I'm back on. I've got Jess here, so pardon the clothes change. It's just been a couple days, so we both decided to shower and change clothes instead of sitting in the same stuff. Um, but yeah, Jess. So back to it. I was reading up on you. Like I mentioned, I stalked you for quite a bit, just kind of reading up on your background. And you got your first senior team call up in 2016, right? You're a member of that 2019 World Cup winning team. Uh, how was that experience? Like, you're the first person I've talked to that's played in a World Cup. You're the first person I've talked to that's won a World Cup. You're the first person, like, there's just a lot of firsts with this moment. So, what was it like when you first got that call up? I know you're a part of, I'm pretty sure, with the youth national team. And then what was it like being on that run for 2019?
Yeah, man. Growing up with like the youth national teams, I saw some type of potential within myself once I started getting those opportunities, which was really cool. But the vibe and the amount of pressure that you have at the senior level, it's way different than at the youth level, of course. And so,
Yeah.
with that being said, I was a little nervous. I shouldn't even say a little. I was very nervous when I kind of got this run again with the national team. So 2016 was my first camp, and I had like a good run for only a handful of months with the national team, and then it seemed like my time was up. It was like, okay, I didn't quite make the team. I did everything I could, and I accepted that. It was like, okay, I got my chance, and it just didn't work out.
Right.
I'm totally content. Did
Right.
everything we could, and then 2018 season hit and kind of hit my peak career wise that year in 2018. And we won the NWSL championship that year, where I was the championship MVP, and got a text from the then national team head coach, Jill Ellis, which was an incredible text. You know, she commended me for the game that I had. And then here I am, my chance again with the national team. It's like, all right, this is literally all or nothing, because I knew what was at stake, and that was obviously making the World Cup team.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, okay, I now know what to expect in this environment, because I've dabbled into camps before in 2016, 2017, and I felt comfortable this time, because like my first like camps, you know, I was just like, oh my gosh, don't know what I'm doing. This is intimidating. You know, I don't want to make a mistake, you know, and just those regular human feelings that you have with yourself.
The jitters,
you know?
the jitters that we all get,
Yeah, and so, and I knew I had the jitters then, but like 2018 was just different, you know, just more mature as a player, more mature just as a person. And like I said, I knew what to expect in that environment. I knew what I had to do. And the best part about that journey, before I gotten my phone call, whether if I made the cut for the World Cup or not.
So it's a phone call that it comes to you? That's how you find out?
It was a phone call we had to wait for. So Jill Ellis gave us this 4-day time frame. Hey, I'm gonna call you guys April 20th through April 24th to let you know whether or not you made a team. And man, she called me on the third day.
Yeah, you don't sleep at all. So
my phone was like this in my hand.
Just glued to you. Exactly.
Man, I have goosebumps right now. And so going into training with them for the World Cup, I knew I had this chip on my shoulder. And I'll explain to you what that chip was. So one, I'm the only mom, first and foremost, you know, so I stand out already.
Okay.
Two, I'm not contracted. I'm not allocated. I haven't been a primary player on this team. So here I am with this underdog mentality, like, let's go. I got this chip. All right, let's go. I'm going to embrace it. So every camp, you know, I'm like, I got to give it my all. And that was it. I was able to go in every camp and focus. I had a good support system here in North Carolina. I'm a single mom. And so one incredible thing that I have that I'm very thankful for from the bottom of my heart, and I have to tell people this, I have to tell the public, is that no, I don't have family here. I have no blood relatives here, but I do have a North Carolina family here who helps me with my son. So I pretty much call them mom and dad, you know? And so I was gone between November 2018 all the way through July of 2019 through the World Cup. Between 2 to 6 weeks, I was gone every month, 2 to 6 weeks. And my son at the time was in second grade. So he couldn't come and travel with me like he normally does, you know?
He's got to go to school and all of that.
Man, and I knew it was affecting him you know, emotions wise, but um, that just shows people the sacrifice that we have to make in order to be successful. These are
Yeah.
sacrifices we gotta make. I had to miss a lot of time with my son, but here we are. It was to obviously set up a good future for him, you know, and so I had to explain those things in simple terms to him, like, hey,
Yeah.
mommy's got to do this, but mommy's doing this for you. You got
For
to
you,
understand
yeah.
that,
This is
you
big
know.
picture. This is
Yeah,
big
so
picture here.
he
Yeah.
understood, and he, you know, he's a little more mature now, and so he was like, oh, okay, like I understand. But
Yeah.
this little boy has no idea the extent of the world.
Right.
He was just like, oh, mom won a cool trophy again. That's nice,
That's
you
cool,
know.
mommy.
That's
When's the next one?
yeah,
Can,
exactly.
can I
Right.
can I play in the box now? Right? You know, it's
And,
always something that you're like, whatever, dude. You got it.
right. Can I
You
have some
got it.
snacks? I'm like, yeah.
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 Snacks right now? Right now?
Right. It's so you know, waiting for this phone call from Jill was probably the longest 72 hours of my life. And so
Mhm.
my North Carolina family, they didn't want to ask if she had called me yet because like it's just a soft subject, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
so they were just like waiting for me to say something whether or not she called. And I had a major knee injury about 11 years ago, and
Okay.
I get it checked up on. I fully ruptured my patellar tendon in my knee, and I get it
Playing
checked.
from
I'm sorry.
playing.
Hmm.
Playing.
Yeah, and so I get it checked every year just to make sure it's fine. So
Hmm.
I was at the doc's office, went and got my X-ray and everything else, and we finally sit down in his office, and he's looking at my scans, and as soon as he opens his mouth, my phone's ringing. It's Jill Ellis.
Yeah.
And he knows what's going on because he's our team doctor here in North
Right.
Carolina, and he just like,
You're like,
yeah, I'm like,
doc.
I gotta take this, and
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
like, so he like knew the phone call, you know, and he heard the whole conversation. I'm crying, you
That's
know, I
awesome.
hang up, and he just like comes up to me to like, it was like awkward, but I needed it. But he like gave me a hug, and he was just
Yeah.
like, congratulations. And I was like, well, what about my knees? Like, your knee's fine. Get to the World Cup, and we'll talk about it after.
That's
It's fine.
awesome.
You know, and I was just sobbing, just
Right. All over the x-rays,
all
just
over,
your
yeah, all
shirt's
over,
drenched. You're just, yeah.
all over. So I'm walking
Yep.
out of the office, and his assistant was just like, I'm still crying at this point. His assistant was just like, it's okay, you'll be okay. And I was like, no, these are happy tears. I just need to get out.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. So incredible news, obviously making it to the World Cup, because boy, I didn't put everything I had, you know, into those camps leading into the World Cup. And then World Cup happened. It was just such a cool experience overall. Obviously, dream come true. For me,
Yeah.
man, World Cup has always been on my bucket list since I became a soccer player, since I saw
Right.
some type of potential within myself, you know, probably
Yeah.
late in teenage years. And so um, for it to happen and did it, and to be a part of it, to be in it, man, it's so hard to explain how exhilarating it was every single day. You know, people don't know what we go through as athletes to prepare. People don't know as athletes the pressure that we have, you know, at the world stage, you know, all eyes on us, all eyes on USA,
Mm,
from, you know, the cameras, the fans following us everywhere. A lot comes with it.
for
But one of the
sure.
most incredible things is that we got on board together, the 23 players on this roster, you know,
Yeah.
this even including the coaching staff. We all got together as much as we could to like sit, talk, come together, get on the same page, pick at each other's brains, like, hey, try and stay off social media, you
Right.
know, as
Right.
much as you can, you
Right.
know, avoid the critics because there's going to be critics regardless.
Always. Always.
You can
Always.
have the best game of your life and there's going to be
And you
critics.
still had a bad first touch. You know, that you still had a bad first touch, or you made a poor decision on a pass. A little too heavy of a weight, you know? Of course.
And yeah, you know,
Of
and so
course.
man, it was cool the way that we prepped. And you know, obviously we put our blood, sweat, and tears into prepping for the World Cup, and peaking at the correct time. And obviously we did that, and we
Yeah.
came back home with the gold.
Yeah. And with that, right? So you talked about staying off social media, staying, you know, the critics are going to be there, all that stuff. Well, I think one of the biggest ones was, former president of the US, right? Him and Megan Rapinoe. I wouldn't even say it's a pissing match because I think Megan, I don't want to put Megan down to that level, but what was that like knowing that like you're playing for this country and the president of it is not rooting for you?
Yeah.
Did that give maybe Megan some more inspiration? Was it just like, hey, you guys forget the BS. We're still in it together. That doesn't change anything. Did that play any part?
To be honest, it probably gave us a little more fire
Yeah.
because obviously Pino, she's one of our team captains at the time, and it's like, hey, if she said no, we ain't going to White House, then it's a no, we ain't going to White House.
Right.
That's it. That's the
Right.
bottom line. And then it kind of blew up from there, which is like something we didn't expect. It was like, oh, okay, well, oh well,
Oh well, yeah.
And
Move
so
on.
all
Yeah.
this backlash came at us, but I was just like, look, we don't really have his support, and why would we,
Right.
vice versa. And so it did nothing but fuel us. It was like, okay, well, we already have all this pressure. You just brought in more,
Bring
and
it.
that's
Bring,
gonna fuel
bring
us.
it on. Yep. Bring it
And
on. Let's do it. Let's do it.
man, that's what makes this program, the U.S. Women's National Team specifically, why we've been successful throughout the years is because of our mental competitiveness. We feed
Hmm.
off of the critics. We feed off of the negativity.
Right.
Flip that switch and we turn it into something positive. And it's balls to walls. Like, let's go.
Right.
And
Right.
so we didn't have time to stress. We didn't have time for negativity.
We had to win a World Cup. We
We,
had. We
yeah,
got
we
things.
got we got a World Cup to win. Bring
Yeah.
that
We got things
negativity.
to do.
Cool. Ain't gonna do nothing but spark us anyway. So
Yeah.
bring it. So
And I think that's awesome. And I've been a fan of the women's national team back with the 99ers, right? And it just seems like always there's a chip. And when you lose that chip, I can remember I think it was the Olympics when it was an early round exit to Australia.
mhm,
Um and you could kind of see that, I feel like, a complacency. Then there was another chip that was put back on the shoulder, and it always looks like that the team is always playing like, hey, it's more than just us. We're representing every girl, every whoever, everyone looking up to us. This is us, and we'll take the bullets and we'll take all the hate just so we can clear a path for that little girl that wants to be us one day. So
exactly.
I
Like, well,
definitely commend that
yeah.
on every player that represents the team.
Mhm.
But yeah, so you've been a part of the youth national team. Then you had a bit of a hiatus, right, before you made it back to the senior call up. What do you think was a factor with that? I know you kind of talked about, you said, oh, I had a chance, but it just wasn't there. Do you think that you needed to mature as a person? You needed to mature as a player? You needed to get better at this, that, or the third? Or do you think it was just a lot of competition and you were just on the outskirts of it?
Yeah. I guess this is something a little more personal that I really haven't been open about throughout my life. I just started kind of breaking out of my shell. So that was a good question, and I'm gonna answer it truthfully.
I love it.
And what I mean by that is, I didn't have the greatest upbringing. Not like, I'm not gonna say like every day was a horrible day for me, but I dealt with a lot as a child. A lot of things that even adults couldn't even imagine the horrific things that I witnessed in my household. Um, I went through a lot of verbal abuse from my mother, physical abuse sometimes, and she was just very harsh to me. She was very strict. But the only way I was allowed out of the house back in the day was to go and play sports. And I wasn't even allowed to go to friends' houses. It was just like a very strict household. So
Mhm.
I dabbled into every sport I possibly could growing up,
Right.
and so I always used sport as a coping mechanism. And I had realized when I was about 17 years old, a life-changing event happened. I told you about that. There was like a
Yeah.
setback. I went to junior college.
Yep.
So something happened when I was 17 years old. And right after that, I set the Arizona State record in 400. You know, we got second place in state overall as a track team with the least amount of females, on our team. And so I won a basketball championship that year. So that life-changing event, it sparked me. It unleashes some type of animal out of me. It's like,
Right.
okay, this happened. I'm able to use sport to cope with that. And so pushing forward into my pro career in 2018, um, I had another life-changing event happen, and
Mhm.
it was with my mother. And it was just like horrible, probably one of the worst times of my life, if I'm being honest. And this was July 31st of 2018. I'll never forget the day for the rest of my life. And after things escalated with my mother at that time, you know, that animal came out of me again, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't know why this happens, but I feel like I almost need some type of adversity happening in my life in order for me to bring out my full potential.
Right.
It just happens that way. And
Right.
I don't know why, and one reason why is because I respond really well to stress outside the field and bring that stress onto the field and jumble up into something positive and just
And
like
boom.
release all that stress. It goes
Yep.
out on the field.
And
It's
it's
like,
out there. Yeah.
and it's out there. And my coach one day, this was like a couple days after things happened with my mom, he was just like, that was like the best practice session I've ever seen you have. And I was like, thank you. Like, let's go. It was
Right.
tunnel vision from that
Yep.
point on,
Yep.
And so national team happened, World Cup happened. And it's like, I needed something horrific to happen in my life to just
Turn it
succeed.
positive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So sometimes there's like these setbacks. So, a lot of times I've seen teammates tear their ACLs,
Mhm.
horrible injury, but they come back a better player.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like these setbacks happen, but you come out like so much
Yep.
better at
Yep.
that time. And so that's literally what happened to me. I came out of this just like horrible situation and just like let it all out. You know what I mean? So
I think that's awesome how and I don't want you to downplay this, and I think you kind of did a bit, but being able to take negative energy and then flip it and turn it into something positive or something productive, right? Because a lot of times people will take that negative energy and release that negative energy back onto someone else or back out to the universe.
yeah,
And I think it's not a lot of people that can take something negative and then figure out a way to, okay, when I go and do this, I'm going to do it to the best that I can, or it gives them that positive energy, and you're kind of like flipping it in a way. So I think that's awesome.
yeah,
And thank you for sharing that. I obviously something I didn't know, and I think it's awesome that you feel comfortable enough to share that with us. So
yeah.
thank
It's
you.
nice when people are able to relate to me. I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, that was just like the best season that I had. Yeah,
Right.
I worked hard. Like, yeah, of course I put in the work, of course.
Yeah, everyone
But
puts in the work.
something else sparked that,
Yep.
and we all go through crap in our lives, and it's like how we deal and cope with crap, because we all
Mhm.
deal with crap
Mhm.
in our lives.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's how you bounce
Mhm.
out of that is what is truly going to define your character. And so
Yeah.
that's how I take it. And of course, emotions come into that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
cry and things like that, but I'm just happy to have sport to be able to cope with it all.
Yeah. I love it. All right. Well, the one of the final things I just want to get in and hear your views on. You've been in the game for a while, right? You've played at all levels, youth, junior college, D1, overseas, national team, domestic league. Um, how has the racial landscape changed over the years? How has it stayed the same? How has the view, and not so much even in race, but just towards women? How has the women's game changed, right? There's obviously been quite a few domestic leagues that have started, fell through, up, so kind of let me hear your thoughts on that. Has it changed for the better? Has it changed for the worse? or has it stayed the same, which might be worse? So,
are you ready to take your game to the next level? Trust the process and sign up for No Stress Midwest training today at www.nostressmidwest.com/training. No Stress Midwest primarily offers training for soccer players on the individual, group, and team settings of all ages and skill sets. Our training is customized for the player, and our goal in doing that is to continue to grow the love of the game, build a personal desire to want to develop, and create the chance and choice for the player to play at the next level. We have developed a unique solution here at No Stress Midwest Training, showing our clients that you can have fun while still getting better. By creating a unique training environment customized to the player, we feel that not only are we able to get the most out of the individual by creating a no-stress environment, but we are also teaching them fundamentals that they can carry off the field and apply in their everyday life. Visit our website at www.nostressmidwest.com/training and sign up for your first session today.
It's definitely gotten better. And the reason I say that is the simple fact of, just the beautiful game of soccer. In the United States, it's considered predominantly a white sport.
Yeah.
And so for me growing up, I was always the only black girl on a team that I played for, always. Yep. There were times I was the only black girl in soccer tournaments, major soccer tournaments, and, my grandmother sort of instilled this being black and being competitive is very important in our culture to succeed. And no matter what you do, not just as an athlete, but
right. Yeah.
So she would let us know, like as a kid, you really don't understand.
All right, Grandma. Oh God, here goes Grandma again.
All right, so it's like, I know I'm black. You don't have to remind me every day, but like
I see it.
Now I know as an adult the importance of carrying myself and dominating for our race.
Right.
That's always the important thing to her, and I think me and my brother did pretty well at doing so, being able to apply it onto the field. But with that being said, I have seen so much diversity now in our sport in the United States, and it is such a beautiful thing to see. I go to University of North Carolina's ID camps. I make these appearances to see who these new recruits are trying to come into university to play, and it's beautiful. Just so much color out there. It's amazing. And then you look at our World Cup roster, even on the national team. I mean, you had Brianna Scurry and Angela Hucles for a couple of years on the national team, and we didn't get too much.
Shannon Box was up there, and
and then you see our World Cup team from 2019, and it was like, wow, look how many of us there are right now.
Yeah.
Look at us right now. And so going from like the Brianna Scurry days until today, it's so beautiful to see the amount of Black women that are playing now. Not just Black women, but there's all different types of races that we see out there. Yeah. And now with the support for women in soccer, I know with how the World Cup went for us and being in the lawsuit that we're in about equal pay has definitely sparked some attention globally.
Yeah.
Because the lawsuit is bigger than us. It ain't just about us. It's about little girls that obviously want to be in our shoes. And it's also about the other national teams that aren't getting paid fairly.
Who are getting paid worse, who are getting worse than you all. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You didn't even get paid at all in the World Cup. No.
I was going to say the U.S., I feel like the U.S. is probably leaps and bounds beyond every other country.
Yeah.
Definitely in Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, those countries like that for sure.
Absolutely. And so it definitely sparks some attention for pro female footballers globally. And so I definitely see improvement. I definitely see like FIFA, opening doors for us. They just made a new rule that if, you're on maternity leave, you still get paid.
And before that wasn't, and that's
the thing. It just happened. They just did it a few months ago, and it was like, yay, thank you. But like,
and you guys You just started having babies a few months ago, apparently, right? So, I mean, that makes sense by that
You
timeline.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's wild.
yeah, it's beautiful to see the support that we're continuing to get. You know, we have a bigger fan base, especially within the NWSL and
Hmm.
even globally. So there's definitely been improvement, you know, for females and for Black female
Yeah.
football too globally. So it's been just a beautiful journey to witness and being in it and outside looking at it as well.
Yeah, and quick shout outs to we mentioned Brianna Scurry, the Shannon Box. Before those two, you had Stacy Wilson,
Yep.
Kim Crab, right? So
Good
and
crap.
they
Yeah.
were the one, and then it was
Very
years,
first. Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
then so and they both have very interesting stories. I've been fortunate enough to meet both of them.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's to me it's crazy I feel like you're battling, right? I feel as a Black female, it's I feel like it's a constant for you, but you're battling so much, and not only are you just trying to play, right, but then you're trying to just get paid, right?
Exactly.
And it's like, what am I doing wrong other
Right.
than doing the same thing everyone else is, but
Mhm.
having to fight twice as hard, right? Not just as a female, but then as a Black female as well. So
Exactly.
um no I'm with you. It's stories like that, like this, that need to be told and just to be made aware, right? um so now with the NWSL, I know that with the this summer there was the Black women's the Black NWSL player group that was started. The MLS started one as well.
Mhm.
um I mean, we're talking about it's 2021. This was what 2020, and now those are just starting. What if you were a part of it? What was why now, right?
Yeah,
Why this over that? You know?
because right now, ever in history, especially for Black people, especially for African Americans, this has been the most potential we have ever had as a Black community,
Yeah,
ever. You
yeah,
know, when the pandemic hit and people have been at home bored lately, you know, this past year, people ain't got nothing else to do. That
mhm,
George Floyd video sparked and shook
yeah,
uh, globally, you
yeah,
know? And so this is when conversations started, you know, especially with our friends who are not of color.
mhm.
And there's a beautiful thing to see, obviously, all the marches happening, the protests, not even just in the United States. I mean, like,
It was all over.
Germany, all over,
Yeah, it
global,
was no, it was
you
all
know,
over the world, all
all over
over
the
the
world
world.
for Black
Which
Lives
was and that was so dope to see, like, because I was
Matter.
like, dang, so
Yes,
they rock with us,
yes,
but
100%.
the country doesn't rock with us. So
Exactly. And that's another thing,
yeah.
you know. But seeing the support that we do have for the Black community, you know, coming from like millions of people supporting us, just seeing how horrible racism is. Um, you know, it has been absolutely amazing and eye-opening for everybody globally because now people see like, wow, racism really is a real thing.
Yeah.
We need to put a stop to this. And now I feel like it's really coming from mostly the older generation of people here in the United
Hmm.
States. And so um, they're just messing with the wrong generation right now.
Yeah. I
And
and I feel like every generation under us is more pissed off or more, woke, whatever you want to say, than
exactly,
the one above.
exactly.
And it's drastic now,
Yes,
right? It's drastic now.
yes,
And yeah,
yeah.
agree.
And so
Agree.
now with this momentum going on, we're like, okay, now that we really have these voices, now that we really have a platform, we know Colin Kaepernick did his thing. He did everything he could, you
Right.
know. So it almost seems, I guess, as Black athletes, it it was like I was hesitant about, you know, kneeling during the national anthem at
For
the time.
sure.
You know, like threats were happening. There was no like full support for kneeling at the
Hmm.
anthem. People didn't understand the kneeling and you know, now people understand it. Now we
Right.
can do it without any type of animosity. And so with that being said, we just came together. We saw the MLS was doing it, and then Midge Purse, she's outside back for New Jersey Sky Blue and the U.S. Women's national team.
Yep.
Very
Saw her
intelligent.
saw her yesterday, 2 days ago. 2 days ago. They play tomorrow. Yep. 2 days.
Yeah, absolutely intelligent woman. But she approached all the Black NWSL players and was like, "Who's on board to like make change?" You know.
Yeah.
And so I dabbled as a board member for a while, as long as I could. I have a lot on my plate, but I'm still like in it. You know, whenever
Right,
I make meetings and stuff, we can do it. But we've had plenty of meetings with the MLS Black players and just starting to make change. And so I'm very excited to see in the near future the type of change that, us as athletes, not even just soccer players, but all athletes, just making change. And it's nice to have a voice in the platform without us, walking on eggshells, because
to do it for sure.
Do it. Like, I know you understand where I'm coming from, because like it's weird talking about being Black. In the past it was, but now people are interested and they're asking questions like, oh, okay, like, can I really about this?
How deep do you want to take this?
How deep do you want to go?
How deep
so we got a lot to say. We just, we always kept our heads down and and just kept it moving, kept our pride, whatever, and so we've always handled ourselves really well as a Black community. But now it's like, okay, we mad.
Yeah.
We're still mad, and it's getting old. We need for it to stop. And, that's what the BWPC is for. It's just to create change and try and put a halt to racism in general.
Yeah. I love it. And for me, I was having this thought, however many years ago that Colin Kaepernick first took a knee, right? And he said it in multiple interviews. It was for police brutality, bringing awareness to it. And now we're 2021, and it's still happening. And I'm like, man, it all started with just him wanting to take a knee to bring awareness, and that was it. And look, it's still happening. So he was chastised for all of this. I mean, lost his career, blackballed, and the stuff is still happening. And then now we're all kneeling, and now people, oh, okay, it's okay if you guys kneel now. And then it's like, well, what was the difference between then and now, other than more Black people being killed by police? So either way, I'm glad something's being done about it now. I definitely think the pandemic, with, like you said, us being inside and just bored out of our minds, looking for new challenges or anything that just occupy some hours, I think that helped. So
absolutely.
All right. So before I get into the final thoughts, I just want to have to say a quick podcast sponsor ad. I want to thank AGY Performance Training. If you're a soccer player in the Kansas City area, elite or pre-elite, and you've got next level goals, AGY Performance Training should be on your radar. Over a dozen MLS, NWSL, and USL pros trust AGY to get them ready for the grind that is professional soccer. Find them on Instagram, AGY Performance Training. All right, so Jess, as we are getting ready to wrap up here, do you have any final thoughts that you want to leave us with? Anything that maybe you want to say? Maybe shout out Naomi Osaka, right? She obviously won, I think, Australian Open. Australian Open, yeah. Owner of the Courage. But yeah, let's hear it. Any final thoughts from you?
Yeah. People don't really talk about, what comes with success. And like, I got asked recently if I can define success. Like, what would it be? What's my definition of success? And of course, you can be, winning, getting paid more,
right, yeah.
Blah, blah.
That's the BS stuff.
Man, it is. And for me, I don't see success without failure. I don't see success without setbacks and losses. And we have to accept the fact that, we're going to make mistakes. We have to accept the fact that we're going to lose. We're we're going to fail at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
And your life's journey isn't just this straight line. You know, it's jumbled. It's like 8 different roller coasters
Yep.
all in one, you know, and then you finally get to your destination. But all of that jumbled up mess makes the journey and the process that much more worth it. And I know the mental part of life in general can be very difficult for people.
Yeah.
And I just became a new business owner for a company called Soccer Resilience.
Okay.
And it helps people deal with their life's crap every day. And so we're all about our core values. We put, you know, the human first before the athlete. And so it's pretty much mental training to help you cope and be sharp on the field, because we feel as if as a company that the physical part of the game is just as important as the mental part. And you know, a lot of these kids are under a lot of pressure. A lot of these kids don't know how to handle stress, anxiety, and things like that. And that's what we're here for. We're here to change that. And so that's a huge game changer right now for me. And yeah, huge shout out to Naomi Osaka, new co-owner of the North Carolina Courage, my boss. Let's go. Congratulations, Naomi. We are so proud of you here in Courage Country. And, you know, we can't wait to meet you in person and, you know, just congratulate you here. So, yeah.
And she does it like she's such a G. Like, I mean, she does it in the Kobe warm-ups. I mean, her boyfriend, YB and Corday, the GQ. I mean, like she's such a G with it. And she's still young, right? Like early 20s, maybe late teens. I don't even know, but I know she's young and she's swagging it out.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what she does in the tennis game, especially following Serena, right, who was so dominant for years. Maybe it was the passing of the torch. I don't know, but Jess, thank you so much for this. I'm so happy we were able to finally get back on, record this. There's so many gems in here. This just made my day because like this convo was super dope. It was enlightening. We were able to get some stuff out. I think the vibe was right. It was perfect.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Jess. So thank you. For everyone listening, thank you. This was Jessica McDonald. Like I said, we had a bit of a mix up with our first and second take of this, but we got it done. This is Brian from No Stress Midwest podcast. Thank you. And we'll talk to you later.